V'amich kulon tzadikim, he has this this level of he's able to bring down into the world the level of the Havai, the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, and to bring it down into the world, to refine the sparks, to be able to elevate that which is in the level of even Offer, the Berudim, and so on. And this is, Hashem helps him, because he also has the idea of Chelik Havaya Amoy, and the Eibishter helps the tzaddik, and it's Amich Kulam Tzaddikim, so therefore he's able to overcome and deal with any of the negative things. And then we start to bring in about the idea that he says in Tanya about, that he brings from the Gemara, Mashbin Oiseti Tzadik Valti Rosh. Let's perhaps begin from there. Let's go a few lines back. Instead of page Yudalit at the top, let's go back to page Yud Gimel on line 28. And the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he's now bringing what the Frierdiker Rebbe explains. And he explains, Shekol Echad Mi Yisrael. Kol Echad V'Echad Mi Yisrael, every single Yid, Hari Nishmasi, Chelik Elokam Emal, his Neshama is a part of the Eibishter above. This is the idea that before the Neshama comes down here, we make him take an oath, and the B'chol Neshama, because in every single Neshama, top of page Yudalid, Yesh Ba HaSoiva, B'chdei L'Natzeach Yetzer Hara L'Izgaber Olav, that it has the satisfaction, it's satiated, it's given the energy and the strength to be able to overcome the Yetzer Hara and to be victorious over it, like we mentioned earlier, that in Moli HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oizroi, that there's the idea of Lahatzil Evyon Mishoifte Nafshoy, that Hashem stands Yamin Evyon, he stands to the right to be the third judge that causes and brings about that the ruling will come down in favor of the Yetzer Tov, when the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara are arguing about the person, if the person should follow the opinion of Yetzer Tov, but Yetzer Hara comes Hashem and he assists him, like we said, that he helps him from his judges, and he's the third judge that causes the judgment to tilt in favor of Yemin, of the right of the Yetzer Tov. That same idea is also the idea of Mashbi'in Moisei, the Rebbe says. The idea of Mashbi'in Moisei is this oath that they give him before he comes down here, even though the Neshama wants to do what it's supposed to do, and therefore what's the idea of the oath? So that we explained yesterday, we mentioned that's the idea of it's satiated, it's satisfied, it's given the energy, similar to HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oizroi, and similar to what we brought from the Maimer that the Frierdiker Rebbe said, the first of the series, Ra'amarim Havayli Ba'oizroi, that Havaya is the one that assists me, and it's not just the Frierdiker Rebbe, not just the Tzaddik, but for Amichum Tzaddikim, that we have this assistance from Hashem, and we, just like the Neshama has this assistance and satiation before it comes down here below. So here he's going to bring down how this fits in with what we learn at the beginning of Tanya. And I mentioned this question about Tanya, that why do we need to even make the Neshama swear? It wants to do it, but it's rather more than just an oath, a promise, but it's also about satiating. And this is where we left off yesterday, line 2 on page Yudalit. This will become even more gishmak. According to what's explained in the Tzemach Tzedek Sefer of summaries and notes on Tanya, the Inyan Mashbim Oisai, that concerning the idea of the oath that the Neshama is given. And the Frierdiker Rebbe over there, the Tzemach Tzedek, brings down, after asking this question, who needs the oath, why is the oath given, and so on, that he says, just like the Chazal say that the month of Tishrei is called Chodesh Hashvi'i, and it's called Chodesh Hashvi'i not just because Sheva, because the 7th, since Nisan, which is the first month, But also Shvi is related to the word Shavua. That's when we like fulfill our oath and our promise to Hashem. And also that's a time of soiva, it's satiating. Because I'll use examples of physically that the material world is being satiated with all its needs of the rains and so on, or the growth of the things that are we bring in from the field, not the rains, but the items we bring in from the field. But also spiritually, it's also a time of satiation. So in a similar vein, the Tzemach Tzedek brings down that when it says mashbiim oisei, that we make the neshama swear, the oath, that's from the word satisfying. That the oath itself is what satisfies and gives power for the avodah. It's not, the Tzemach Tzedek says, it's not two disparate explanations. One meaning of Shvuah is oath. Another meaning is satiating. So we're saying, don't look at it as an oath, because there's no reason to make the neshama swear. Look at it as satisfying. You're satisfying the neshama, you're giving it energy. The Rebbe brings down from the Tzemach Tzedek, from the Kitzur V'Aras Atanya, that's not what it means. A Shvuah, by its very nature, an oath by its very nature, has the power to satisfy, to energize, to give us extra power that we wouldn't ordinarily have. So the Rebbe and Tzemach Tzedek explains, Ki yadua be'inyan mashbi'im l'kaim es ha-mitzvahs. The Gemara says a person may make an oath to fulfill a mitzvah. It's a Gemara. The Gemara says, even though normally we're not supposed to make an oath in vain, and we are obligated to fulfill a mitzvah anyway, still in all, a person may and is allowed to make an oath to fulfill a mitzvah. So the question is, why would a person make an oath to fulfill a mitzvah? If you want to fulfill the mitzvah, do the mitzvah, and if you're having challenges, what's the oath going to help? So it's explained as follows. V'hainu, this means when there's a state and situation, when there's a difficulty in fulfilling Torah mitzvahs, when you're limited to the avodah, that's based on reason and knowledge. Then there has to be the idea of an oath, that a person needs to take an oath to be able to help him. So the question is, why? So the simple reason is, just like when a person takes an oath in Bezdin, what's the reason that Bezdin will sometimes obligate a person in taking an oath, but in other times, just his testimony is sufficient? When we need to have extra validation, we're not trusting what he's saying, so we're saying, you know what? To trust you, we need you to take an oath. What does the oath help? Either he's lying or he's not lying. Why does the oath help? In the simple sense, and we see this in the Gemara, this idea brought down, that a person has a fear of the severity of transgressing an oath more so than just an ordinary lie. So therefore, a person, when he takes an oath, that gives him like another stronger type of discipline to hold himself back. The same thing, by extension, the Gemara in Alpin Nigla says, I'm having challenges with a certain mitzvah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fulfill it, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to withhold myself from doing this Aveda. So a person can make an oath that he's not going to do the Aveda, that he's going to fulfill this mitzvah. What does the oath help? He's already, like it says, the Chazal used the term, Mushba v'oimid mahar Sinai. He's already standing, he already has the obligation, he's already sworn by Har Sinai to do this. What does it help? The oath. But the reason is because, again, in a person's mind, an oath is a lot more of a severe transgression. So by coupling the mitzvah together with an oath, So that severity of the oath will give him the energy, just like the severity of the oath will make him be honest in the bezdin. The same thing, the severity of the oath will give him the energy to overcome any issues that he has in fulfilling the mitzvah. That's alpin nigla. The nigla but always corresponds with the pnimius. The deeper reason why an oath helps a person overcome something that under normal circumstances he can't deal with. So he says in line 9, Shal Yada, through the oath, Nimshach Koyach La'avoida Ba'ofen Shalamayla Matam V'das. So comes down an energy, a power, the satiation that we spoke about before, that's from the word soiva, for an avoida that's beyond reason, beyond knowledge. How come? Because an oath comes from a much higher place. This is similar to the idea of a bris, a covenant, that we say, why is it necessary to make a covenant? A covenant is not made, a treaty even is not made for when everything is going good and everything is logical. If there's a reason for you to be friends with someone, you'll be friends with them. Why make a covenant? The covenant, the bris, is there in a situation where there might be something undermining the alliance, undermining the friendship. Logically, there should be no reason anymore for friendship. And you want to protect the friendship, you want to protect the closeness under all circumstances, even in cases where there may be a reason to stop the friendship, stop the alliance. For that you make a bris, which is also like a promise, it's also like an oath, that come what may, even if logically it makes no sense, we should be friends, we'll still be connected with each other, because it taps into something that's beyond logic. The same thing an oath. An oath comes from a level that's higher than Tam Vadas. Tzemach Tzedek also over there in the Kitzurim V'Oros Antanya also says that Mashbi'im Moisai is both from the word oath, from the word shvua, and from the word soiva, satiating, and also from the word sheva. Just like Tishrei has all three things, Chodesh HaShvi, seventh, also the idea of satiating, also the idea of swearing and taking an oath. The same thing over here by Mashbi and Oisi. We also have the number 7, and over there the Tzemach Tzedek enumerates the concept of the number 7, how it has to do with very high levels, higher than Seder Ishtalshlus, the way the Tzemach Tzedek explains it. Here he doesn't explain the number 7 specifically, but he explains that Shvuah in general has to do with higher than Seder Ishtalshlus. Ki yadua be'inyan bi nishbati, as it's known concerning, I swear by myself. In other words, bi means my very being, my very essence. The idea of Shvuah comes from a level of bi, this is the level of Hashem's essence that's higher than the name Yud Kei Vav Kei and higher than the name Elokim. That's why there's no description, no name, it's just Bi Nishbati. That's it, because it's talking about Hashem's very essence. So we see that the Shvuah reaches a level that's higher than knowledge, higher than understanding. Therefore it's possible to be the joining and the drawing down of Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei into Shem Elokim, that should be able to be the drawing down, the revelation of Yud Kei Vav Kei in the world. We said earlier that what does it mean, Baruch Hu Savayim, Suyidechem Kodesh of Baruch Hu Savayim, that we have to bring down a Tosefes Hamshach and Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. Why do we have to bring down a Tosefes Hamshach and Yud Kei Vav Kei? Because you are dealing with the Yud Kei Vav Kei in the world. And ordinarily, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the way it interacts with the world, is concealed through Shem Elokim. Here we need to have an additional energy that the Shem Havaya should shine through the Shem Elokim and reach into this world. And that happens by bringing down the Baruch Havaya, that you bring down the higher level of Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Kei Vav Kei de La'ela, into Yud Kei Vav Kei de L'Sata, the lower level of Havaya, like we spoke about before. And to do so, that you need to have the level that's the highest of all. You need to have Hashem's very essence, the level of the Shvuah. So that is why the neshama is assisted from above. Havayali ba'oizroi. You have the assistance yamigli min evya, that Hashem helps and stands to the assistance of the poor one that's being torn by both sides by the shoiftei nafshe by Tov Yetzirah, because amich kulun tzadikim, the tzadikim have every yid has this type of oath that's being given to the neshama, and that energizes him, because that oath comes from a very high level to be able to bring the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei down into this world. Let's continue. Line 17, page Yudal. This is also what in the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimer he explains in the title Suyudech and Kodesh. The Pirish Hemshcha Kosuv, continuing what it says further in the pasuk, after it says Suyudech and Kodesh, it says Yivarecha Havaya Mitzion, that Havaya should give you a bracha from Tzion. Earlier we said that Tzion shows on the level that's extraordinary, the level that's outstanding, the level that indicates the most essential state. Because that's the idea of Shavuot. The idea of Shavuot is that energy that comes from a level that's beyond reason, beyond logic. That's the same level like we're talking about now, the level of the essence of the Neshama. That this level of Yechidah is beyond reason, similar to Shavuot, and that's why when it comes to Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice, that's an expression of Yechidah, because self-sacrifice is not something that's logical. That from this comes about the power, that there should be the avodah in a manner that nothing should be able to influence and affect a change on the neshama. Just like we said before, that when you make an oath or when you make a covenant, no changes in the situation on the ground that logically would tell you to stop whatever you're doing would bear any type of effect when you have this type of shvuah. So when you have the Yechidah revealed, so again, nothing will be allowed to affect the person to withhold him from doing what he has to do. Because the neshama's level of Yechidah has in it the same level, similar to what it says, I am unchanged. Also, this is applicable to every single Yid. This idea of the Yechidah, that it's applicable to every Yid, is also something that we know from that Maimer Baruch HaGomel, that it says at the conclusion, it says in the pasuk, the Maimer says, Ani Havai Lo Shanisi, I Hashem am unchanged, Va'atem B'nei Yaakov Lo Chilisem, and you, top of page Tezvav, you, the children of Yaakov, did not end. In other words, the simple meaning of the pasuk is, just like Hashem is unchanging, so too Yaakov, the children of Yaakov, Am Yisrael, despite everything we are going through, we are still here. We do not end, we do not finish, we still survive. But in a deeper meaning, Chassidus says, Pirush, this means, the Navi is wondering and telling the Yid it's not supposed to be period, but it's supposed to end with a question mark. Don't you see that Hashem does not change? If so, why you, the children of Yaakov, did not cease? Why don't you? What does it mean? Does not cease? So it means from the word klois hanefesh. Why don't you expire in your love for Hashem? Madua ein atem nimshachim achrei haTorah mitzvos b'chlois hanefesh. Why are you not drawn after Torah mitzvahs in a way of your soul expiring out of love for Hashem, that you just can't like stop yourself and completely immerse yourself in Torah mitzvahs. So this is the point that the Frierdiker Rebbe says. Now, in the simple reading, it's like a negative. The Frierdiker Rebbe is saying that the Navi is rebuking us. You see, Hashem is unchanging. The meditation on Hashem's unchanging nature should bring a Yid such a great love of Hashem that his soul should totally expire. But the Rebbe is trying to bring out the positive. The Rebbe is trying to bring out that this avoid of the Yechidah, where nothing will stand in its way, which is also the same idea of the Shvu and the Bris, that whatever changes take place, I am still standing fast in Torah mitzvahs, is applicable, the Rebbe says, by every Yid. And we see that from this part of the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maimer. How do we see that this immutability is applicable by every Yid? So he says in line 5, "V'hainu shagam kasher medu b'roides neshamas nemuchas." Even when we're talking about low souls, shalachein nikrois b'shem Yaakov l'shein Akev. That's why they're called Yaakov, not Yisrael. It doesn't say va'atem b'nei Yisrael lo yichalisam. It says atem b'nei Yaakov lo yichalisam. Yaakov, we know, is from the word expression heal, and as we know throughout the Chassidus, many Mamarim, that shows different types of levels of neshamas. There are the levels that are the level of the head, li roish Yisrael, and there's neshamas that are on the level of Yud Akev, that there's the level of the heel. So even those neshamas, hinigam b'negel le'am masme hanavid hanavi masme hanavi madu ein boin matz l'maimid umatz v'chlois hanefesh. Why? Even such low neshamas do not attain this expiration of the soul. So what does that show? From the Navi's wonder, we can see that every Yid is shaykh to this idea. Also, the lowest neshamas, it's applicable to this type of expiration to Hashem, this level of complete love and desire and yearning for Hashem. And how is that? Like we said earlier, mitzad bechinas hayichida shebenefesh, because the yichida that's in shebenafshim in their soul. They have the capability to draw down the yichida that actually revealed in all their soul powers. Because of, by the way, this is a very important point about it becoming revealed in all their soul powers. That's a lot of times the difficulty. Yichida is always there, but it doesn't become manifest and doesn't affect my intellect, my emotions, and my thought, speech, and deed. The Rebbe says we have the capability to do that as well. Because he concludes in the pasuk, Hashem should bench you from Tzion, the one that makes heaven and earth. What's the emphasis of the one that makes heaven and earth? Because through this through drawing down the Yud Kei Vav Kei, through our essence of our neshama, the Tzion, so then we fulfill the entire purpose of why he made the heavens and the earth. Like the Maimer explains, that we ensure through this avodah that the heavens and earth should go on existing. Through the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs that follows the service of the heart. When a person has the service of his heart, so then his Torah mitzvahs is perfect and complete in all the three pillars of Torah and mitzvahs and the service that the entire world stands upon it. Until we come to the perfection of Mashiach's times. It's not just I make the heavens and the earth in the past, but then when Mashiach comes, I will be creating new heavens and new earth, the Navi says. Which is, first of all, the Rebbe says, Baruch Nias, it's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. From this descends as well, also in the physical. And then, from the new heavens and new earth, that's by Hashem, that also happens by the Yid, and that results also by the Yid. Like it says, just like the new heavens and new earth that I'm making, They stand before me, so your descendants and name will stand. So in other words, we are compared to the new heaven, the new earth, so we will reflect that as well. Inyan, what does that mean spiritually? That's the idea of Aliyah Adabchinas Pnimius Atik Lefanai Dafke. It says Oimdim Lefanai. Lefanai goes in the level of Pnimius, the innermost level, that we go up to the innermost level of Atik. That's also the perfection of the idea of raising your hands to holiness. Shahu, top of the last page. Inyan Halos Amidus, it's a level of raising up our emotions, as we know the arms, the Chesed Drei, Mina Gvura Drei, Smola, as we're going to say today in Pascal Yo, the right and the left are Chesed and Gvura, Ava and Yira. Adla Aliyah L'Bchinazer Ampin Midas Ba'atik, until the ascent of the level of the Midas to Atik Yoimin, V'chein Ti'alonu B'yas Mashiach B'karav Mamish. So should be for us in the coming of Mashiach soon Mamish.